Hey guys, welcome back to another weekly developer update. So it's been a little while since I've just been very busy and I had a few problems with OBS. But hey, we're back and I've got quite a lot to cover, so I'll best get into it. Well, as you can see, first of all, I've got the cover art for the game that looks really clean. Really happy with this. This is what's going to be used on like the Steam page and like the EGX panel and whatnot. Uh, Here I will. Yeah, I'll first go through some of the stuff I've been up to. So firstly, I've been like making some more tiles for the game. As you can see, I've made all these like crystals. Today I've just been making these like boulders, these stalagmites, bonsai trees, some vines and statues. Making things like newer bullets and projectiles, as well as just tons more just tiles and just making the game look better. But if we actually go into the game, that's probably the easiest way to show it. Is if I run the game, you'll see that quite a lot has changed. Because that's been a good couple of weeks since I've had a dev diary. So sorry if this one's a bit all over the place, because there's quite a lot to talk about. So first of all, as you can see, we've got the ninja being able to move around. What we've got here is we have a CPU mode in the works, where right now a CPU is controlling the ghost. So as you can see, it'll go from like enemy to enemy, and then once it goes into enemy, it'll try and sort of move towards me. So it'll kind of chase me. Which we're still working out some kinks in it, obviously, but it's coming along alright. As you can see, the CPU is a little buggy right now, but that's still a work in progress. So if I just disable the CPU for now, just so I can actually control the ghost. But if I run the game, and here we go. So you'll notice quite a lot here. So first we got these like autumn leaves going by. I've got a few little autumn tiles like bushes and tree stumps. Oh, you'll notice that we have this little the ninja has a slide. I don't think it had that last time. Where you can like sort of slide down slopes if you just tap down while running. It has this really cool like after image effect to it. It looks really clean. So I can like slide through here, jump up here, slide down here. It just feels really fluid. Like so. And we'll jump up here. Ooh. And yeah, the ninja movement's feeling really fluid all in all. As for the enemies, oh, that's a bug I thought we'd fixed. But as for the enemies, this is the art for this enemy just got put in today actually. The new like, because the old frog enemy would throw like a projectile now. It's this new one is a tanuki. Can jump around and he can throw these little sacks, these little money bags. Oh yeah, he looks really clean. So he can run left and right as a jump. He can throw money bags at the ninja like so. I really like this animation that we've got that's like it sort of like poofs the reload back in. It looks really clean. And let's see, what else have we... Because there's just so much to cover. As you can see, I made all these like autumn tiles, all these little bushes and whatnot. I believe the bombing enemy was already in the game for the last developer update. There's so much to cover. Like this new possession effect. It's like this new fire effect that looks really clean. You can hot swap between enemies, so to swap to this other enemy, if I press enter, I'm now this one, I press enter again, I'm now this charger. I can easily just swap from enemy to enemy. We've been doing a lot of messing around with the ninja movement to get it fine-tuned, a lot of messing around with the enemies and still messing around with the enemies to make them feel fluid. We've done a lot of bug testing, just basically just improving upon what we already had. I've currently been in the process of setting up the Steam page, and that's currently just in like a review queue. So hopefully we should have the Steam page up next week. Oh, a big thing we had for the game is, oh, that's the melee attack enemy, is that me and one of my teammates ended up going to a practice pinch event in Dundee, which is really cool. So basically what that was we went round different tables. We got to do like a presentation, a pitch for our game to like 7 different experts individually and get feedback off each of them, which was really handy. And we got some really good feedback of it because overall the feedback from our pitch was the criticism was having more like business figures and like numbers. It's like specifically in terms of like the business side and like a budget for the game and that, which is completely fair and I agree with that. But the main feedback from the pitches was they really liked the game, which was really nice to see. You know, we had some of them some of them asking, you know, like add me on LinkedIn. I think it's a really cool project, and you know, I want to be informed with this. To, you know, pitch him to one of them, he was just like, "Oh, I get it." Just immediately like understanding the whole like gameplay loop of swapping between the enemies and the ninja and the ghost. And overall, we got just having multiple experts all be really enthusiastic, going like, you know, this is a really, this seems like a really good game idea and concept, was like a really big confidence and like morale boost for me and the team. And it was very much a moment of going like, wow, you know, we could seriously like turn this into a business type of thing. So, you know, we got so much feedback on like talking about how, you know, the game seems like quite far along compared to a lot of other games, and just talking about how, you know, a lot of them really like the whole gameplay idea of, oh, you know, I can easily understand, oh, okay, I'm now controlling this enemy, and if I then manage to kill the ninja, then they swap. They just immediately understanding that, and that was just really cool to see. Now, other than that, we're attending EGX, which is in roughly about 5 weeks from now. It's in September. So, hey, if anyone watching this wants to come see the game, they can come to EGX and play it. As you see, here's another enemy that I don't think was in the game at the time of the last dev diary. Which, this enemy is the swooping enemy, so he can fly around and he can do a little dive attack, where he sort of like turns into a tornado and just goes like that, which looks really cool. Other than that, we just had a lot of just physics changes, just making the enemies feel better. So now like they have a bit of acceleration and just feeling more fluid. So like now you don't awkwardly collide with enemies, you can actually walk through enemies, but like they'll still damage you with their attacks. And just overall making things like a wall jump feel better, the slide, the melee, just all feeling more fluid. And overall the game's come along really well. I think by the time we have it in EGX, you know, it will be just finished. Because right now we've got 5 weeks till EGX, and the main things we need are, we have 3 enemies left to animate. One of the enemies that needs to be animated has already been like designed and got an idle animation. It's just needs a couple more animations, and then 2 other enemies that we need to animate, which is very doable in 5 weeks. And then other than that, but that's in terms of art, and then for the rest of the art, that's like changing some of the visual effects. So like changing like the explosion effects, for example, and the like death effects when you kill an enemy, as well as I'm constantly, because we've sort of split up the art where I'm doing a lot of like the terrain, whereas the other artist working on the game is handling a lot of the enemies. So that's divided quite nicely. So I've been doing like all this tile set, and I did the like ninja animations. I did the Oni head animation, But yeah, I've just mainly been doing a lot of like the terrain stuff as well as like a lot of the admin stuff and just doling out tasks, general leadership and admin stuff that sort of comes with the whole, just comes with the role. But oh, another thing is we are actually going to be, I'm actually going to be talking about the game tomorrow on a official Transfuser stream for about 10 to 20 minutes, which should be really cool. So I'll be able to just talk about the game and answer any questions that anyone has there, and it should be a really cool experience. So yeah, if anyone's watching this, then tune in tomorrow at we're on stream at 4:10. So if you want to see anything about the game, then come check it out then. And then obviously EGX is going to be really big. Oh, another thing I've not mentioned is the game does have like audio and that. I just got it muted for the sake of recording, so I want to unmute it. It's a bit loud. Yeah, I had that muted because for me it's a bit loud. I can't really hear myself. But yeah, overall the game is coming along really well. I know there's probably like a ton of stuff I'm skipping over that we've done over the past few weeks. Like, there's been so many bugs we fixed, just making a lot of the enemies feel better, making the ninja feels like especially good right now. Like the only critique I have of the ninja is maybe making the wall jump feel a bit more consistent. But other than that, the ninja feels like really nice. Like the movement, just the wall, just be able to slide through things like that, be able to kill enemies that quickly, just feels really nice and fluid. But yeah, I'm trying to think what else is there, because I think I've obviously skipped over a lot just because a lot has changed in the past 3 weeks. It's hard to really remember where the game was 3 weeks ago just because we've done so much. But yeah, overall, I'm very optimistic about the project, and it's going really well. Like, yeah, I'll talk about a bit more about the pitch event. With one thing we noticed was one thing that sort of made us go like, wow, we can actually turn this a business, as well as having like a lot of all the experts saying that they like really like the game concept, and that was a lot of most if not all the experts were saying like, aside from saying positive things, were saying like, I could see this as the type of game that gets funded. And some of the stuff we got told was like some of them were saying like, I could see this as the type of game that gets funded by like Transfuser or like a publisher or something. And then one of the experts I remember was saying like, honestly, I don't even know if you need a publisher. I think you could just release this from what you could see, which was like a really cool thing to hear. But then other than that, in terms of the business side, we budgeted for the game to be like, oh, we'll work on it for like, the plan was basically, if we're able to get the funding after Transfuser, we'll work on the game for longer. So like maybe like an extra, 6 to 12 months working on the game. And in that time, it would be adding more enemies, more polish. Online is like the main big thing we'd want to add. If we were able to get the funding, was online would be like the main like focus, as well as adding additional modes. So, because right now you could easily imagine this, instead of having one ghost, if you have a ton more enemies and have 3 ghosts. So it's basically like a 4-player free-for-all where the 3 ghosts are all trying to get that last hit so they can beat a ninja. Sort of like a mayhem mode. Or another mode could be a 2v2 mode where there's 2 ninjas, it's like a red and a blue ninja and a red and a blue ghost that are trying to sabotage the other team's ninja. So that sort of stuff that we're really wanting to do if we're able to get the funding. But overall, yeah, the game is going really well, and the future's looking good. Like, it was very much just a wow, we could actually turn this into a business, because right now, obviously, we're working on it and we've got the funding from Transfuser, but we're not getting like a full wage or anything. So it's going to be nice, hopefully, getting out, being able to get a bit of money for all the work we're doing. But overall, it's going really well. Like, obviously, there's still the odd bug, like that enemy's just stuck on a wall, for example, and there's the odd bit of old art that's still in the game that we have to tweak. But considering we're like a bit past the halfway point for Transfuser. We've got a bulk of the work out the way. The main thing we have to do now is just fix some of the enemies, because a few of the enemies still feel a bit clunky, and basically just gameplay and balance tests, as well as obviously just adding the art that's missing. But the art that we need for the game now is not 5 weeks worth of art, which is nice. But yeah, overall the game's coming along really well, and by next week's Dev Diary I should have a Steam link so that you can wishlist the game on Steam, which is, it sounds really cool to say. But yeah, I think that covers everything, or like it's like a brief summary. Again, there's probably a ton of stuff here that I'm just forgetting to mention because so much has changed throughout just all this. Like, oh, one thing I've not shown is, for example, one thing I almost didn't show was we have a couple extra game modes now. So here's the new word art for the game that the other artist on the game made. It looks really clean. If it will load. You can see it's like pretty typical, like retro looking title screen. We'll probably make a few tweaks to it, but for now. So if I go on start, and there we go. As you can see, we've got a couple modes now. So we have the normal 2-player mode, but we have a time attack mode and a survival mode, where time attack is basically how fast can, as you see we've got a timer, it's basically how fast can you reach the score limit. And then there's a CPU controlling the ghost, it's trying to like sort of slow you down a bit. And obviously we're still tweaking this, but basically a couple extra like single player modes we have this time attack mode. Oh, the ghost got me then. As well as a survival mode, which is basically, the survival mode is how far can you get with only the 3 health you have as a ninja, whereas the time attack is how fast can I get to the 5-minute boundary. Game seems to be lagging a bit. I think that's probably just because some bugs that we're still working out. Oh, there we go. I just died, so the time attack failed because I died. And then the other mode is survival, which, because the reason we added them was because one bit of feedback we got was that by only having a 2-player game, it basically means, oh, you know, if one person just buys it, they can't play it at all on their own. So by adding a player versus computer mode and then a couple bonus modes in a time attack and a survival mode, it just adds a lot more replayability, and it allows us to appeal to a wider target market of, oh, you know, you can still play this game. It's obviously made for multiplayer, but you can still play it single player. Like the best example I can think is like, you know, fighting games are made for 2 players, but you can always play against a like computer enemy, which is obviously isn't as good as experience, but it's still a good substitute for that experience when you can't get 2 players together. But yeah, the game overall is coming along really well. And I'm trying to think what else is there, because I know there's probably more stuff I'm forgetting. See, there's all these tiles I've been making, crystals and whatnot. Little animated bullet. Yeah, stuff is coming along well. Is there any other art in here that I've not... There's a few bits of old art. Oh, there's another tile set. Tile set 3. No, it's not that. This one? No. Is it not tile set 3? There it is. So yeah, making these like autumn tiles that you saw in the game. Just because it just makes the game a bit more visual appealing, and I don't know, I guess just whenever I make like tree sprites and plant sprites, I'm just like, looks nice, but it would look nicer if it was orange, I guess. But yeah, overall the game's come along really well, and if you want to stay up to date a bit more, we've made a few more like TikToks for the game, and we've been tweeting about the game semi regularly, and that's only gonna increase as we get further and further on in development on the game and closer to an inevitable release date. But yeah, I think that's a good summary of everything. So thanks for watching and listening to my bit of a catch-up ramble. And yeah, because I've now sorted out my recording problems, I should be able to get back to doing these every week. So they'll be back to weekly developer diaries. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next week. Alright, peace.